At the beginning of the movie, we see Father Michael saying prayers, and then we are shown a scene from 3 nights ago where a boy, Xander, is sleeping. Ashley and Jordan's stepbrother is named Xander. He is suddenly awakened by a noise, and he notices that a body with its head severed is approaching him. As soon as he sees this, he hides in his room out of fear. He turns to look around and discovers Sarah's toys nearby, including a decapitated skull. He enters his parents' room out of fear because he was clutching his severed head in his hand. His father was startled when he saw him. He learns that Jordan is returning home with the severed head. He then awakens to discover that it was all a nightmare. Jordan is shown in the following scene after getting the call from Tanya to return home. She then attempts to phone Ashley, but it doesn't go through, so she leaves a message for her. Ashley's phone is with Father Michael, as we can see. She then departs for her house. As opposed to this, Father Michael requested the guy to clean Tanya's house, while he and another man buried John and the doctor's bodies. The man provides him with Mark, Ashley's father's, phone number and address. Father then makes a call to Mark, fills him in on everything, and goes to see him. While on the phone with a friend, Jordan explains that she is worried about Ashley and Tanya and is unable to reach them. Jordan is asked to meet her buddy, who also resides in the same town. We then see Father and Mark traveling to Tanya's home. Mark says he had hoped to arrive a bit sooner so he could meet Ashley and Tanya because he hasn't seen them in many years. Father informs him that they left town with Dr. Karas. Mark claims to have changed now. He used to miss his girls a lot, and his second wife Karen is a lovely person. He desires to see them and make everything right. Once there, Father informs Mark that some of Ashley's acts are precisely like Sarah's. They then arrive to Tanya's house. Mark wonders whether she, too, has mental health issues because she is going through some of the same things Sarah did. Jordan arrives there at that precise moment and inquires about their well-being. Father informs her that, while Tanya and Dr. Karas had to remove Ashley from the area because she was having trauma-related issues, everything will be fine. Jordan enters the house. Even though she is not really pleased to meet her father, she now feels a little off as soon as she walks into the home. And in Ashley's room, we see the ghost of Dr. Karas, who is eerie and frightening looking. Jordan flees the home as Father and Mark arrive at the scene. What's going on, and why is Ashley's room so different, she queries. Father attempts to explain, and only then does Mark accept that she can remain at his place until Ashley and Tanya return. Father Michael hands her his business card and advises her to contact him if she needs assistance. Jordan recalls Mark when she was a youngster, as Mark apologizes to her as they travel. He claims that the passing of their mother had troubled him, and that he is aware of her right to have animosity toward them. She retorts furiously that she has come here just to find Ashley, when he begs for a chance and promises to try his best. Karen and Xander greet her as she enters the house. Karen tells Xander that she may stay in her room for as long as she likes, because this is her own home. Jordan, on the other hand, isn't interested in having a family, and says she simply wants to find her sister. Karen responds by telling Jordan not to worry, since her family is always by her side. Jordan then notices Xander chatting to someone when no one else is around. When she asks, Xander remains silent, and they both head out for supper. They discuss how the doctor and Tanya can whisk Ashley away secretly over the dinner table. Jordan claims that she got Tanya's message in the morning and hasn't been able to get in touch with any of them since. Jordan responds that Sarah had never had a mental health diagnosis, while Mark claims that Father insists Ashley is also dealing with some mental health issues. Then, while Xander is playing a game, Mark snaps and slams Xander's phone into the table. He then apologizes, and Xander and Jordan then go off to sleep. Karen rubs Mark's shoulders to help him relax. He then rushes to Xander's room to apologize to him, and they both begin to pray. Late at night, Xander awakens from his slumber and walks to Jordan's room, where we can sense a demonic presence behind him. He then sleeps next to Jordan in the room. The next morning, Father puts a crucifix on their home's front wall before sprinkling salt at the front door. Just then, Xander emerges and bluntly informs him that he disapproves of what Father is doing. Father tells them that they need to discuss, while Mark arrives at the same moment. Father says he wants to share something with him about the day Ashley was born, and then, in a flashback, we see him performing an exorcism. However, as Karen approaches, he halts and invites Mark to visit his office. He questions Xander as they part ways about what they had discussed outdoors and with whom, but Xander remains silent. Father then abandons the Bible inside their home. Jordan then leaves to see her buddy, and Father witnesses her go. Karen is informed by Mark that he is visiting Father's office. Father will drop Xander off at school en route and has an employment offer for him. Karen cleans up the entranceway after them, takes the cross down off the wall, and replaces the wall art. Conversely, Jordan runs into her old buddy Nat, where her brother Taylor and his friends greet her. They identify themselves as Ashley's classmates and tell the girl that one day Ashley dozed off in class and then screamed, startling the entire class. Then she chewed off Shane's tongue as well. She simply lost her wits and went insane. Jordan's mother was informed by Nathan that Ashley had a breakdown in front of everyone at church one day. Even her eyes were gushing with blood. She attests to Father Michael's attendance. She then informs her that Hannah passed away, and that just before to her passing, they had been hanging out. She was informed that they planned to do a seance so Ashley could communicate with her mother. She also describes the seance they held with Ashley. Jordan then goes to the police station to get Ashley's missing report filled up, and there, an officer introduces herself as Tanya and reveals that Ashley was brought there for treatment. She also claims that they all witnessed Ashley's panic attack in the chapel. Jordan urges her to check beneath the church, since Ashley never leaves without notifying her, but the officer takes her number and tells her to go home. Father Michael, on the other hand, tells Father Thomas that he can't keep it a secret for long, and that things are spiraling out of his hands. Tanya is in shock, and 2 people have already become victims, according to Father, who also threatens to put him in jail if they don't help. Father Thomas tells him that someone would get in touch with him soon, but to keep his secret for a few more days. Father Michael questions Mark about Jordan. When he meets Mark in the interim, Mark claims that she holds him accountable for every issue her mother encountered, despite his desire to be a decent father to his kids. Here, Father discloses that Ashley experienced the same demonic possession that Sarah had. When Mark asks why, his father explains that the demon was not prepared to leave Sarah's body during her exorcism, and that when he poured holy water on her, it cried loudly, just as Ashley was being born. When Mark hears this, he becomes upset. His father tells him that he should have left Sarah alone because she passed on that day, but Mark claims that he personally saw Sarah's burial. However, Father claims that while at the time he did what he believed to be proper, he no longer understands why. In a fit of rage, Mark demands to know where his daughter is. He threatens to murder him if he keeps anything from him hidden. After that, he departs, and Father announces that Jordan is the next. The following evening, Jordan takes the Bible to her room and begins the same seance to summon the spirit, but she puts out the candles as soon as she hears voices and whispering. Stopping the seance abruptly, so that the ghost is unable to return, is a risky thing to do. She then makes her way to the kitchen, where Mark is drinking by himself. This upsets Jordan, since she hoped he could have given up drinking. She then departs, declaring that she will leave this house in the morning. In contrast, Xander hears whispers and senses that someone is hiding under the bed. He doesn't at first see anybody there, but when he does, the devil appears to him as Sarah, forcing him to flee in terror. He may be seen waiting at Jordan's room door. Jordan notices Xander looking odd as she awakens. When he reaches her, he abruptly transforms into a ghost, although it was only a nightmare. When Jordan awakens, the real Xander is in her room. He claims there is someone beneath his bed, but when they both go to investigate, they find nothing there. Jordan sees a ghost with a severed head in the room, only after he asks if he may sleep with her and turns out the light. As that ghost moves closer to them, Jordan hurriedly takes him to her room. Mark, on the other hand, awakens from a nap and notices Sarah's ghost. He begins to pursue her, but after moving a short distance, she vanishes. Mark sits there, sobbing briefly. He notices Sarah's hands are on his shoulders at that point. When he tries to touch her hands and apologizes for being unable to assist her, he feels something sticky on his fingertips. He then raises his head and yells loudly. Mark is still on the bed when Karen goes to get a drink of water, but her reflection is still there when she returns. After going to check on the kids, she starts hunting around the home for Mark. She returns to the bedroom in search of Mark, but is disappointed to see him resting on the bed. She sits down close to him as we observe his possession and knife in hand. Then, while still sobbing, he turns to face her and stabs her with the knife. After hearing some noises, Jordan awakens to see Mark beating Karen's body. When she notices this, she flees in terror and tells Xander that they need to leave immediately. Then, when Mark is attempting to enter their door, she assists in sending Xander out the window. Xander descends, but horrifyingly, Mark follows close after. When Jordan steps outside to look for Xander, Mark leaps on her and stabs her in the shoulder. Xander then knocks Mark out cold. They both enter the home after that, and Jordan conceals Xander in a closet before going upstairs to contact the police. She runs beneath the bed and dials 911. She also unlocks the back of her automobile to divert possessed Mark's attention. At that precise moment, Mark enters the home as well and searches the closet for Xander. However, he walks upstairs and ends up in Jordan's room when he can't locate him. He hears a disturbance from outside, just as he is going to peek beneath the bed. He descends the stairs after observing the car's trunk opening via the window. Jordan steps outside with Xander after concluding that he has left, and they both get into the car and begin driving away. They believe they have escaped Mark, but he was hiding in the backseat, waiting for them. Mark emerges from behind the car while Jordan is driving. When they spot him, they panic and exit the vehicle. Fortunately, the cops show up as well, and they let them know that Mark is in the car and is attempting to hurt them. Mark strikes a cop with an axe and chops off his head while the officers check the car. Another cop fires at him, but it is ineffective, and he subsequently injures her as well. He then moves in the direction of the kids, who are in the police car. When the female cop shoots him once again, he smashes the window glass with his head out of rage. He approaches her and stabs her in the eyes with his fingers. Jordan then approaches him from behind and strikes him in the head with an axe. After telling her chief, the officer, we encounter Chief Lane. Her crew informs her that they have discovered the decomposing remains of Dr. Karas and Pastor John behind the church. She orders her guards to remove Father Michael. Father admonishes them. And then a police officer informs her that they have located the cells where Tanya and her niece are being held. Following this, all of the police officers and the chief enter and Sarah emerges, possessed. She ends each cop using her ability. Father now begins praying after noticing her, and she then leaves the area. She suddenly appears in behind of the father and yells at him in a vindictive manner.